I am Marika Goolsby. I'm a former foster youth and adoptee. I wrote my memoir about my time in care. It is called A Flower Called Orphan Girl. It is available in my TikTok shop and anywhere books are sold. It is my heart and soul poured out onto paper. It is my life, real life lived experiences. I survived abuses no child should go through. And it is my goal, my hope, and my prayer that my book serves as one of many examples of why the system needs to be changed, because it really, really does. The system needs to be changed. And to do what people think it already does. Now, I'll be the first to say I am fully aware that there have been changes since I was in the system personally, but there's so many more that need to happen. And today we are centering social worker voices because social workers can make or break a family. So the social worker can be looking for what's called in-home care plans, meaning, okay, there's been some reports that happened on this family. I'm going to check it out. All right, the report is this. We can fix this with an in-home care plan so children don't need to be removed. We're going to check in on parents, once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever the frequency that is set to keep this little family intact, right? To me, that's ideal. But if that cannot happen, children absolutely need to be removed so family can get it together, whether that be, okay, parents need to focus on substance abuse treatment. Parents need to focus on anger management. Parents need to focus on a parenting class, whatever that may be. And children absolutely need to be removed for the process to happen. Then look into a kinship placement. Is there a family member that can take this child on for a little while parents are getting it together? That would be the next best step. In-home care plans not working out, let's look into kinship. Because we all know, or at least it is known, that cultural mirrors, culture affirming care is important for self-esteem, self-worth, and belonging. So yeah, kinship. And then if kinship is not possible, there's no one safe or there's no one that can do it, then look into fictive kinship, mean someone from the child's culture, someone that is a community member, someone that speaks the child's language. And then fictive kinship, because it similarly to kinship gives cultural mirrors and a sense of belonging. Now, if all that has been exhausted, in-home care plan is not possible, kinship placement is not possible, fictive kinship is not possible, then a foster home that understands the importance of maintaining those bio connections. You cannot be with mom, but you can have visits with mom. You cannot be with dad, but you can have visits with mom. You can't be with siblings. And speaking of siblings, an attempt to place siblings together must be prioritized. Hi, Susan, Teddy's mom. Must be prioritized. And if that can't happen, a home that understands, I will be communicating with the other foster parents in this case to keep those sibling connections connected. Good morning, love soulfully. So these are the things I would like to see heavily on the preservation piece, though. Focus on preservation. So everyone's always saying there's a shortage of foster homes. If we focus more on preservation, maybe there wouldn't be a shortage because we wouldn't need as many. Now, I'll be the first to say I understand sometimes removal must happen. And sometimes the abuse is such that there is no going back. Maybe somebody's in prison now. I get that. And in those cases, making sure the foster family is committed to keeping connections with people that are safe, because grandma didn't do it, grandpa didn't do it, auntie and uncle didn't do it, cousins didn't do it, siblings may not have done it. So keeping the connections where it's safe and yeah, helpful, makes sense. So that's kind of the stuff I would like to talk to social workers about, to see maybe there's something I don't know, because I'm not a social worker. The social workers that I have talked to have talked about having way too many cases and having a job that's actually impossible to do the way that we think it's supposed to be done. What can we do about that? Do we need to hire more people? Should there be way more social workers than we have? Or is it a matter of, if you focused on family preservation and kinship, maybe we wouldn't need as many social workers or foster homes? This is the kind of information I would like to know. So yeah. Hopefully we get some social workers in to answer these questions. All right. So we are 15 minutes in, already into the conversation. Centering social worker voices is very important, because we need to know what they're dealing with, what they're going through. Why is it that after 1 year of work, most people that come in full of life, full of vigor, and ready to really make a big difference and change and help, and assist, that a year in, they're already burnt out and ready to quit, or have already started cutting corners because they still feel like, I still can do it. I just have to do this, and I just have to, maybe I visit children and foster parents for 15 minutes instead of an hour. That way I can fit, more visits into one day, and maybe I do report writing at this time, and maybe I just Xerox a couple of reports and change some dates, and people shouldn't have to make those type of compromises, because that's when kids get hurt. That's when things get swept under the rug. That's when things get missed. That's when you have people working overtime, off the clock, working way too many hours to even have a family of their own. It's just, no. So yeah, I would love to hear from y'all. Good morning, Aries. Welcome in. We are centering social worker voices today. And I know for a lot of former foster youth and adoptees, that's pretty triggering, just because of having really negative experiences with social workers. I, for one, my only negative experience with the social worker is being absent. That is the negative experience I've had with social workers, is absent. Because basically from 0 to 12, I was assigned a social worker, and I don't remember meeting one social worker more than once. No, more than twice at the most. And most of the time when the social workers did home visits, it was to not talk to me. It was to talk to my foster parents and offer them more support because they were dealing with this really troubled problem child. That's how it was done back in the days. So today is Wednesday, and we are centering social worker voices. Good morning, JJ. Welcome in. We are centering social worker voices. I know there have been social workers that come to this live, and that's who I want to hear from. I want to know, what's going on in their neck of the woods, so to speak, in their little corner of the universe, because we need to hear from them, especially if we want them to make changes, like entire social work departments to make changes. It's important. Shares? Okay, that's cool. All right, so yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Social workers, they spend so much time going to school, studying, and full of hope. I mean, most people don't go into this thinking they're going to get, be rich and famous. People usually go into this field because they want to help. They want to make a difference. Maybe they have something in their past, connected to social work that left an impression on them. Like either they had a really good experience and they want to give that to someone, give back, to someone who needs that, or they had a bad experience. They want to make sure people are having a good experience. So they want to do something different from what they experienced. And like I said, a year, 2 years tops, people are either quitting or cutting corners. And it's not cool. It's not cool. That is what the data shows. Quit or cut corners. Because you have way too many cases to do a good job. You have to write reports. You have to visit children. You have to visit parents. You have to go to court. A lot of driving around, from what I understand. Pop-up visits, surprise visits, like scheduled visits and surprise visits. It's a lot to juggle. Okay. Let's see, is there a share on here? Doesn't, oh, well. Okay. Grand Rising, welcome in. Today we are centering social work voices. Let me do something here. No? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so I'm looking forward to today being warm. What is this month? This is May, so we're going to be getting into summer soon. All right, cool. Okay. One more power share. Kind of wake people up. Wake up, it's Wednesday. Okay. Shares are going out again. That's a good category. Teachers. I didn't realize I had so many. All right. Ooh. Let's try this one too. Wow. Oh, that's an A-trained sister. I didn't realize. We got two nurses in at least two nurses in the A-train. Oh, wow. All right. All right, welcome in. I am attempting to center social worker voices, so hopefully some social workers will come through. My understanding is we all have complaints about social workers, and also that social workers are overworked, underpaid, and burnt out, and placed in a position to do the impossible. So that's another aspect of the system that needs to be changed, needs to be different. So yeah, are there any questions that you ever wanted to ask a social worker? Like, why do you do things like this or like that? How did you get into this field? Drop those questions in the chat. That way I can save them, and when we do connect, I can have a list of questions. And I'm talking about current social workers as well as former social workers. Either they quit or they retired. These are the people that I would love to talk to, check in with. And, Wednesdays, when we're centering the voices of any particular community, it's really interesting to see who the people show up for, who the people come out for. And so far we have been, we've centered the voices of adoptees, former foster youth, foster parents, and now social workers. You're not. How can you prove or prevent a social worker, master's in psychology, from mental messing with kids? First, I guess you'd have to kind of prove that that's happening in the first place. By talking to the kid and knowing what's going on. Other grandmother been doing play therapy. Play therapy should only reveal what is going on with the kid, because, most kids don't have the attention span to just sit there and have a conversation. So a lot of things that's going on in the kid's life will come out in the play. So really, during play therapy, the therapist should just be observing and taking notes of what the kid is acting out during the play. So I guess just by doing a little research on what play therapy is and knowing how does it go, the therapist is the grandmother. The therapist is the child's grandmother, because that isn't ethical. You can't do therapy on your own family member or on yourself, or like that shouldn't even count as therapy. Yeah, that should not even count as therapy. That's just a grandmother playing with her grandchild. And maybe she's looking for, just having training on play therapy doesn't make it play therapy. Maybe she's looking for something to then take to an actual therapist so they can make note of it or make a case out of it. But she can't be in the dual role of grandmother and therapist. Like, I'm a grandmother and I'm a former therapist as well. So if I was playing with my granddaughter to kind of get an idea of what would be revealed through play therapy, it's not an official therapy session. It's not something I can take notes on and present to a court or anything like that, or to a social worker or anybody else for that matter. So I would want to know what his grandmother's goals and objectives, and engaging with the child in this way, just because she has the knowledge about play therapy doesn't make it officially a play therapy session. And I don't think play therapy can be used to, well, let me see the words, mental messing with kids. Play therapy is a way to gather information, if done correctly, from what I remember. Like, I didn't really work with kids, even though I did learn about it, but yeah. Good morning, Stingray. Welcome in. I am attempting to center the voices of social workers, but so far we haven't had any come through. So, oh, hi. Thank you for being here. Is this your first time, Stingray? I don't remember seeing you in the space before. Last week we were centering the voices of foster parents. Were you in for that one? I don't remember seeing your name. Oh, this is your first time. You said yes. Okay, yeah, every Wednesday we are centering the voices of some aspect of foster care and adoption. Okay, cool. So I'm Marika Goolsby. I'm a former foster youth and an adoptee. I wrote a book about my memoir. I wrote my memoir about my time in care. And basically, it's what not to do as a foster and adoptive parent. What not to do. I survived abuse that no child should survive, and I use my story to inspire others with lived experience to tell their story, to educate people who know nothing about the system or know very little about the system, and or just have bad information. And it is my hope and goal to prevent future harm. So I'm glad you are here, because this is a all systems involved space. So, some lives you go to are clear, like this is a adoptee only space, or this is a foster parent only space. This is a systems involved space. So if you are a foster parent, adoptive parent, a bio parent with children in the system, a former foster youth and adoptee, a social worker, case worker, CASA worker, case manager, an attorney, a family court judge, this space is for you, period. Because it's going to take all of us to improve the system, because all of us have a different view. We're all looking at it from a different angle, a different distance, different lighting, all of that. But we need all of our voices with the same goal of making the system better, talking about how, and when. So that's why today we are centering social worker voices. Like I said, we have not had any social workers come through as of yet, but I have had other lives where there were social workers. And my understanding, as much as people have a love-hate relationship with social workers, is that so many social workers are overworked, underpaid, have caseloads that are way too large, and are expected to do the impossible. And I think that's a part of reform, is making the job doable. Now, I will admit 100% there's many people that should retire already. Like, you are way burnt out. You are cutting corners. You do not care anymore. You're just trying to get through the day. Quit. Do something else. Some people will get in a rut. Well, I don't know how to do anything else. I've been doing this for the past 15 years and doing it this way. I'm not open to changes. I'm actually a kinship caregiver. Okay, cool. I was asked to take 2 children in who are not related to me, but they had no family. Yeah, kinship care and fictive kinship care are important for cultural mirroring and sense of belonging. And I know some states don't distinguish between kinship and fictive kinship. My understanding is kinship is they're related to you, and fictive kinship is they're not related to you, but they're from your same culture. But it sounds like yours is, under my understanding, would be fictive kinship. And right, non-traditional kinship. Interesting. Our first caseworker quit. Right, that's what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to point out, be careful when you say they had no family. Is really triggering for some folks, because most of the time, like, nobody has no family. They may not have family that could take them in. They may have family that wasn't safe for them. They may have had family that wasn't appropriate. But there is no, like, that's what I was told growing up, you know, after being a foster kid, that that reunification was the goal at first. So to then be told, you know, Marika has no family, kind of makes you question, like, am I remembering these people, or did I make them up? Did I just land on the planet in a spaceship? No, like, I had family, but but yeah. Colorado. Okay. No problem at all. But yeah, fictive kinship or non-traditional kinship is important. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, that the steps need to be followed as far as, you know, a CPS report is made, a social worker investigates, hopefully tries to implement a in-home care plan where children can stay with their family. But if that can't happen, then maybe a kinship placement is found. They had no relation that was eligible for care. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. They had family. They weren't able to take them in for a multitude of reasons. So it should be in-home care safety plan. Okay, that doesn't work. Now let's look into kinship. Okay, that doesn't work. Let's look into fictive kinship. That doesn't work. Let's look for a foster family that can keep them connected to their culture, heritage, bio family that is appropriate as much as possible. Because maybe there's family that can't take them on full time, but would like to have visits or telephone calls. You know, a lot of times when parents are unable to parent, people kind of write off the entire family. Well, what about grandparents? What about aunts and uncles? What about cousins? What about godmothers, godfathers? What about, yeah, there's other people in the family that may not have been okay to take custody, but maybe maintain a relationship or connection. Especially when siblings are involved, we should make every effort to keep siblings together. And when that doesn't happen, can we maintain contact? Can we maintain visits, phone calls, video visits, letters, emails, something? So these are the things I kind of wanted to talk to social workers about, to see, is that happening? Maybe that's happening more than I realize. And it all depends on what state you're in and what county you're in, what social worker you're assigned. But it shouldn't be so random based on where you happen to be on the planet. It shouldn't be just completely random. And right now it feels very random depending on where you are. Like, I've had foster parents talk about how they lived in one state, they got their license in that state, they got their training in that state, moved to another state, and they were considered either undertrained or overtrained because it's so different. Thank you for agreeing. I appreciate you. So to me, the bells go off like we need federal mandates So it's the same level of care across the United States. Not just random depending on where you are and which social worker you are assigned. You know, report writing is different based on what social worker you are assigned. Can we move from a strength-based way of doing the work instead of passing along this file full of every bad thing that has ever happened, which is like a negativity based? And even county to county, yes, county, that's what exactly. State by state, and even within this one state, depending on the county, it could be different. And that is, no, not cool. Not cool at all. And yeah, I just think it's important that we are talking to each other, listening to each other, regardless if you are a social worker, foster parent, adoptive parent, a bio parent, a former foster youth, an adoptee. We have to be listening to each other. Otherwise, how can we improve the system that almost all of us are complaining about with good reason? You know, I don't think anyone's complaining for no reason. Hey, Texas Peach, welcome in. In Colorado, there's a nonprofit that has free online trainings for tons of topics. And I imagine they are optional. I hope other states have similar. From what I understand about the state I'm in, California, Child and Family Services, CPS, has a trainings that are also free, but it sounds like they are optional. And even when I was looking into, you know, state by state, how many hours are needed, how many hours of training are needed to get a foster care license versus how many hours of training are needed every year to maintain said license. It's different state by state. And the trainings are optional. So basically, like, I may know I need 15 hours of training to get the license, and I need every year 8 hours of training to maintain the license. Which trainings that I participate in are my choice. Now there is, I believe in Idaho, I think that's right. There is a push to have it be where it's based on the social worker's recommendation. Okay, social worker comes to me and says, okay, Marika, you are licensed to take in 3 teenagers. And for the past however many years, you have taken this newborn training every single time. We think that should not qualify for your training hours because you don't take newborns. So why are you, oh, they're so cute, it's so fun, it's, you know, learning how to dress them and whatever. Like, it needs to make sense. They have everything from therapy acronyms to diaper changing to TBRI to Q&A with a family lawyer. It sounds awesome. It sounds awesome that the trainings that are available, but are all of them just whatever the foster parent wants to take, like optional, or is it based on social worker recommendation? Because the issue that has been pointed out to me also is that, like, especially in the state of Florida, there's a foster parent, adoptive parent there that says that there's a ton of trainings to choose from. The problem is people taking the same trainings over and over, and they already know. You watch the video, you answer the questions at the end, and that's how you get your hours. And some people will just click play while they're doing other things and not even be paying attention because they've seen this training over and over, and they practically have the test at the end memorized. And then click, 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 I'm done. So they're not even really learning anything new. Since I'm kinship, the requirements are more lax. Okay. And yeah, I think I have feelings about that as well. Because just because you are a kinship placement doesn't mean you know it. Doesn't mean you're trauma informed. Doesn't mean that maternal separation trauma is less. It's still there. So I feel like even kinship needs to be trauma informed and child centered, and need some of the same trainings a regular foster parent needs. You know, and sometimes kinship needs it even more, just because, you know, the grandmother that says, well, I raised your mama so I can raise you. Like, well, like, how is that helpful? The fact that I actually do miss my mom, even though you're my grandmother. Like, you're not a substitute, you're not a fill-in. Like, this is better than a complete stranger, but yeah. Okay, so we have been on for 49 minutes. We've had 51 viewers, 0 new followers, 0 gifters, and so far 733 taps and 152 shares. These are the numbers TikTok cares about, to keep us on the For You feed. I heard every 10,000 taps put you back on the For You feed. So we have not even have 1,000 yet. So if both people in the room can do a power share, that's where you hold down the screen. You'll get a white box with a list of names and the word send next to it. Push send all the way down, and that is how you do a good power share. It guarantees 60 shares, and that is how we get our share number up. And tapping the screen, I always recommend folks get a tapper, and that is how you get your tap count up without risking flat thumb syndrome. It is possible, flat thumb syndrome. I don't know. It's funny. Oh, that's why. All right. All right. People are passing through rather quickly. So yeah, we're going to be ending this live soon. And we'll be attempting the same conversation today at 4 p.m. I am on every day, twice a day, except on Sundays. I'm only on once a day. The live times are 6:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Sundays 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you look at my my post, you will see the schedule of topics, and you can decide which one you want to attend. Of course, I hope you decide to attend all of them, because I believe all of the topics are important to focus on. And especially this one, it's really interesting. So I don't know, maybe later on today we'll have more folks coming through, more actual social workers coming through to have this conversation. That is my hope and prayer. So yeah. And I usually love to have a panel discussion. There's 3 ways to get on the panel. They all start with getting your daily heart me. 1, get your daily heart me and be a super fan. That's the number 1 way to access the panel. 2, get your daily heart me and participate in the live goal and the gift gallery. And 3, get your daily heart me, share this 60 times or more, and tap the screen 1K times or more, which is super easy to do. Those are the 3 ways to access the panel. So if you have done any of those things, send a guest request. I would love to chat it up with you in real time, like right now, and I will check your stats and then bring you onto the panel. So I have a panel discussion twice a day, every day except on Sundays. All right. Is there anyone requesting? There is no one requesting at this time. Just really quickly, I'm just going to read your stats. Stingray. Stingrage? Uh-oh. Have I been saying this wrong this whole time? All right, so you have not gotten your daily heart meet, which is the #1 thing in all of the categories. It says you have 21 comments, 0 shares, and 580 likes. So is it Stingray or Stingrach, like Rachel? #1 or #2? #1, Stingray. #2, Stingrach, like Rachel. Okay. Rachel. Okay. Stingrachel. Okay, cool. Well, nice meeting you, Rachel. I hope you come to this live as often as you can. Usually it's much more lively than what we're experiencing this morning. And I feel like when I was centering the voices of foster parents, it was the most lively, surprisingly. And I think that's because a lot of foster parents don't really have a space. I mean, I know there are foster parent only spaces, but maybe there's not one like this for foster parents, where they're actually invited to talk to former foster youth and adoptees and hear and learn. And I have been told by foster parents that this space has made them a better foster parent to the children that they are parenting. Social workers are hard to get a hold of. As you said, they're overworked. Right. That's why I think a lot of social workers that do come through here are either, I think we've had 3 so far that are like, I just graduated and I'm going to be starting my first job next week. We've had that. And we've also had people that are like, I used to be a social worker and I quit. And we've had a couple people come through that are like, I'm a retired social worker. And then we have had a few people that are currently social workers and love the job and, have their gripes or whatever, but feel like for the most part they're doing okay. So we've had all of those categories in the space. Not at once, but it would be nice to have them all in at once. And maybe that might take a little planning on my part as far as scheduling and advertising, getting the word out. And that I think I will definitely do for the next one. Like set a date a couple of weeks out to make sure people know this is coming up. Okay, I do have a cat who is doing the most. She's always doing the most. This is Panther. Yeah. And the other one is on the chair next to me sleeping. I have 4. 2 of them are always in the office with me when I go live. So, yeah. 2 are usually hanging around the kitchen waiting for me to be done or waiting for my wife to do breakfast. So, yeah. But yeah, I think this is super important. I never know how the live is going to go, honestly. Sometimes it surprises me and I'm like, wow. And sometimes it surprises me and I'm like, what could have been different? What should have been different? This is one of those times. But I'm definitely happy you are here. You've definitely got to experience a more slower, low-key, quieter live than usual. No problem. It definitely is my passion to, prevent my story from ever happening again. And you can get the book from my TikTok shop. I'll actually just put it in here so you can take a look, add it to your cart, get your copy now if you want to. All right, so yeah, that's the book. You can definitely click the link and get your copy now. If you get it this morning, it will go out in the mail and you'll have it in 5 to 7 business days. It will go out today. If you get it this morning, it will go out today. Because I think it's important to listen to those of us who have lived through it. And, you know, I was actually even looking up foster parent memoirs. They're out there. Social worker memoirs are out there. Birth parent memoirs are out there. Like, these are people who have lived through it. You know, and experiences vary from really good to really horrible. And all of it is valid and important to get a full picture, because you cannot fix what you cannot see. So if we're looking at it, if we're looking at the system only from one side, we're not getting a full picture. And how can we fix it if we can't even see the whole thing? So yeah, so this is the book. So whenever it's pinned, I have to keep it on screen. If this looks awkward, I don't know. I guess I just have to look awkward for a little bit. That is the TikTok rules. All right. But yeah, thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you being here. I do hope you're able to come back as often as you can and get the book, and tell other people to get the book as well. Have you read any memoirs by former foster youth or adoptees or foster parents or anyone? I'm gay. Ah, me too. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you being here. I haven't. I'm barely keeping up. Yeah, I mean, there's audiobooks too, I recommend. Soon my book will be I'll have the audiobook version soon, like a couple of months from now, maybe 6, hopefully less than 6, but we'll see. It is a work in progress. I haven't read this either. It sounds amazing. Thank you. This is my memoir, A Flower Called Orphan Girl. And it's about my time as a foster youth and adoptee. And I tell all foster parents and adoptive parents, read this so you will know what not to do. Don't do any of the things these folks did. Yeah. Anyone that works with kids in the system, I believe, should be reading these memoirs, because you are even going to lives hosted by former foster youth and adoptees. Like, we're on here. We are on this app. I believe we are on every app that exists. If you can find former foster youth and adoptees and foster parents and adoptive parents and social workers on every app. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I will be shifting gears soon, just so I can get to my day job. My day job is a pet care provider. I've been a pet care provider for the past 14 years. I am a chef, and my job is to serve homeless youths. I used to be homeless, but I was never in foster. Okay. Well, welcome in. That is awesome that you cook for youth. Yeah. And that's another issue with the system too. Like, there are more programs that cater to youth aging out of the system. And, you know, it used to be all bad I mean, it still is all bad in some places. For youth aging out of the system, it still is all bad in some places. But that's the issue I have with there not being any federally mandated ways of doing things. You know, it was like, you're 18, get out, bye. You know, and it's like, what? Wait, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? You know, and that's how a lot of former foster youth end up homeless and having mental health breakdowns. Makes me wonder how many of my clients had to go through that. Some of them talk about it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a small number. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of foster youth turn 18 and end up with nowhere to go. And the good thing is there are most places have extended that to like 21, 22, some places even up to 25. But it's an attempt to, and which is really sad to me, that you have to extend the age so foster parents will not just throw them to the streets. And it's like, didn't you become a foster parent because you care about children? Because you want to help? And I imagine some foster parents will say, well, they're not a child anymore, so goodbye. And it's just like, it just feels heartless. It feels heartless to do things like that. To say, oh, they're extending the stipend so you can stay. But yeah, that is a real issue in the system that needs to be addressed, that needs to have federal mandates, not just be different state by state, county by county. Like the conversation about aging out should start at 16. About, okay, are you going to college? Are you going to trade school? How are you going to transition into adulthood? How can I help with that process? How can I not just cut you off and leave you high and dry? Just on your own. So yeah. So for anyone that gets the book this morning during this live, I'm throwing in a complimentary bookmark, and it will go out today. And then you will receive it in 5 to 7 business days. So if you are thinking about it, go for it. Yeah. So it is almost 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in California, sunny California. It's sunny today. I will be out there walking puppies, enjoying it. Oh, you can get it unsigned through the rainforest. I'm not supposed to say the name of the rainforest, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And it is a lower cost. I was told I wasn't supposed to say numbers out loud. I'll take it to the chance. $39.99, $39.95. But yeah, you can definitely do that. I don't know how they're doing the shipping over there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You hear me? So yeah, I don't know how they're doing I don't know what the shipping time is with them. I just know here the shipping cost is, the shipping is free shipping, and you'll have it in 5 to 7 business days. Yeah. Good morning, EM. That is my wife. Welcome in. Happy to see you here. Thank you for the populars. It does make a difference. It does help our popular ranking. So yeah, today's live has been, says we just teared up. Hold on. I have to go. I hope to catch you live again. Okay. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I tell everybody, live your wild and wonderful life because you deserve it. And I hope to see you back. Thank you for viewing the product. I appreciate it. Because the more people view it, the more people add it to their cart, the more people purchase. It shows TikTok that there is genuine interest, and they will push it out so more people can see it. So yeah, thank you for adding the product to your cart. I appreciate that. Yes, it makes a big difference. As far as TikTok, TikTok can support or repress. And of course, we want support. We want our lives supported because we are definitely, hopefully, inspiring people to tell their story, educating people who don't know about the system or only have one view of the system from one side, and preventing future harm. It's an IEP. Did you do the... No, but I will. Oh, I need to do that now, don't I? All right. Shoot. All right, this live is coming to an end. I definitely have to shift gears. We will be back today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, I definitely have to shift gears if you have a 9 a.m. time, right? No, it has not been busy at all. Actually, this is the busiest it's been. 9, well now 6, but we had 2 for the longest, for most of the time. And I think I need to do better about putting it out there whose voices we'll be centering, so those folks will actually show up. The people that I really want to hear from. I want to really hear from everybody, but today we were centering social worker voices, and I don't think we had not even one social worker come through, which was the exact opposite experience that we had centering foster parent voices, because we had a lot of foster parents come through. Yeah, we do, and I will. All right, it has been a delight as usual, and we will be ending here and coming back at 4 p.m. Hey, Carlos. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Live your wild and wonderful life because you deserve it. And if you are around at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'd love to see you back. All right, the exit song that I play is basically the song I used to sing with my bio family after our supervised visits. This is a supervised visit. We are being supervised by the app. We're being supervised by trolls. We're being supervised by people deciding if they want to join our community or not, or if they want to engage. This is a supervised visit, so this makes sense to me to play this song. If you do not want to stick around for the song, live your wild and wonderful life because you deserve it. Come back 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.